Peppa Pig's world seems simple, but hidden in plain sight are strange inconsistencies that don't quite add up. From a vampire teacher to a never-ending barbecue mystery, these odd details might just change how you see the show. Let's start with Mr. Fox. Mr. Fox always shows up at just the right time, almost too perfect, like he's watching and waiting. But in the episode The Police Station, things get even weirder. Outside the police station, there's a wanted poster with a fox symbol on it. That's already suspicious. But if you look closely, the same fox symbol is on Mr. Fox's van. Not just that, his shop is covered in the same logo. Is that just a coincidence, or does it mean something more? Then there's the episode Night Animals. Grandpa Pig is tucking in his chickens while telling Peppa and George how wild animals hunt at night. Just as he turns around, Mr. Fox is suddenly standing there. The timing is almost too perfect. Foxes have a reputation for sneaking into farms, so was he just out for a stroll, or was he proving Grandpa Pig's point? It gets even weirder. When Grandpa Pig needs a metal detector, his old one is nowhere to be found. Right when he starts looking, Mr. Fox shows up with one that looks exactly like Grandpa Pig's missing detector. How does he always have what people need, especially when their own items go missing? And here's the funniest part. Freddy Fox says he wants to be a policeman when he grows up. If that happens, will he one day have to arrest Mr. Fox? But there's one more suspicious character, and that is Mr. Potato. The episode Mr. Potato Comes to Town starts off normal enough. The Pig family is watching TV, and Mr. Potato is leading an exercise routine, telling everyone to stay active and eat plenty of fruits and vegetables. Sounds like good advice, until you remember that Mr. Potato is a vegetable himself. And it only gets stranger. Mr. Potato has a family, Ms. Carrot, Blueberry, and Sprout. They don't seem to question anything about his message. Do they see it as normal? Or are they just ignoring the fact that their friend is encouraging people to eat vegetables, like them? Then there's Super Potato. Unlike Mrs. Carrot, who uses a rope to fly, Super Potato actually flies in the air with no explanation. And somehow, he's strong enough to lift Mr. Potato out of a car. No other vegetable in Peppa's world has superpowers. If talking vegetables exist because of some experiment, why is he the only one with abilities? Was he made differently, or did something happen to give him powers? And for a long time, people thought Super Potato and Mr. Potato were the same character. But after the rescue, it's clear they're two separate beings. The real mystery? They look completely identical. Same shape, same mustache. In Peppa's world, characters who look alike, like Daddy Pig and Uncle Pig, are usually related. But Mr. Potato and Super Potato don't have a single difference, except their outfits. So, are they long-lost twins? Or is there something else going on with these talking potatoes? This brings us to the strangest detail that hasn't been answered yet: the wild animals. Peppa's world is full of friendly, talking animals. But what about the ones we never see? In the episode The Zoo, Madame Gazelle tells the class they'll be seeing wild animals. But when they arrive, there's nothing actually wild, just the usual talking animals running the zoo. So, if those aren't the wild animals, then who is? This mystery gets even stranger. In nature, some animals are predators. But in Peppa's world, everyone seems to live in perfect harmony. Dr. Bear isn't out hunting, he's treating George's cold. Mr. Lion and Mr. Crocodile don't rule the jungle, they run a zoo. But if they don't eat meat, then what exactly do they eat? Are they snacking on Mr. Potato and his veggie friends instead? Then, in the episode 3 Bowls of Porridge, Mr. Wolf stumbles across the pig family and mentions he's looking for lunch. That seems harmless enough, until later when he's seen leaving Grandma Pig's house. What exactly did he eat? And let's not forget Mr. Wolf's constant hunger. He's always talking about food, especially when he's alone with Daddy Pig. At first, it seems like a running joke, but when you start connecting the dots, it starts to feel a little unsettling. So, Where are the real wild animals? Do they live in some hidden part of Peppa's world, separated from the civilized ones? Or is there something about the food chain that the show isn't telling us? Then, there's Miss Rabbit. She is the busiest character in Peppa Pig. She's driving buses, running shops, flying helicopters, and even controlling TV broadcasts. But have you ever wondered how she manages it all? It's not just about having multiple jobs. Miss Rabbit always seems to know what's going on. She's in charge of communication, transportation, and even the rescue service. That means she controls how news spreads, who gets where, and even who gets saved in an emergency. If someone were secretly watching over the entire town, Miss Rabbit would be the most likely suspect. Then, there's the strange way Peppa's world is filmed. Every episode starts with an outside shot of a house, then zooms in like someone is watching. No one ever acknowledges the camera, meaning they might not even know they're being recorded. And guess who's in charge of setting up TV antennas? Miss Rabbit. Could she be secretly running an entire surveillance operation without anyone noticing? Even the Queen gave her a medal for her hard work. But when she tells Miss Rabbit to keep up the good work, it almost sounds like she knows something. Did she just mean her jobs, or was she hinting at something bigger? And let's not forget her shoe shop. It's packed with shoes, but no one ever seems to buy them. Everyone in Peppa Pig wears the exact same footwear. So why does the shop even exist? If Miss Rabbit really is behind everything, then her businesses might not just be businesses. Could they be a front for something else? Food. In the episode The Fire Engine, Daddy Pig and his soccer team get together for a barbecue. Seems harmless, right? Well, not when you look at who is attending. There's a zebra, a rabbit, and a pony. Animals that would naturally stick to a plant-based diet. But then we have Mr. Bull and Mr. Pig. Two animals that, in the real world, are commonly associated with being barbecued. So, what's actually sizzling on that grill? If it's just vegetables, then no problem. But if there's meat involved, where did it come from? Peppa's world never really explains this, and maybe that's for the best. Then, there's the issue of dairy. Peppa and her friends enjoy milk, cheese, and pancakes. But that leads to an even stranger question. Where does the milk come from? In the episode Pancakes, Mummy Pig pours milk into the batter. In the episode The Cafe, Peppa adds cheese to her sandwich. But here's the unsettling part. In Peppa's world, cows aren't just livestock. They're people. Miss Cow and her family walk, talk, and live like everyone else. So, if milk exists, does that mean Miss Cow is selling it? Or worse, is it hers? We bet you didn't notice this one, right? Why? If so, hit the like button. Anyhow, let's move on to Madame Gazelle. Many fans believe Madame Gazelle isn't just a regular school teacher, she might actually be a vampire. And honestly, there's quite a bit of proof to support that theory. In the episode Pumpkin Party, while everyone's reflection appears in a mirror, Madame Gazelle's is completely missing. That alone is suspicious. But then, she makes an eerie comment. When she sees Susie dressed as a vampire, she casually mentions that it reminds her of the olden days. But how old are we talking about? Then, there's the episode Madame Gazelle's House. Next to her home stands a Christmas tree that has apparently been there forever. But when Mr. Bull tries to climb it, a group of bats flies out. Instead of being startled, Madame Gazelle calls them her old friends and says they remind her of the past. But here's where things don't add up. She claims she's owned the tree since it was small. If that's true, how long has she been here? Then, there's another strange thing. Hanging on the wall inside is a black and white photo of a male gazelle. The placement suggests he could have been her husband. But if that's the case, where is he now? If Madame Gazelle is a vampire, was he one too? And if so, what happened to him? Maybe he couldn't handle centuries of life and walked away. Or maybe something darker happened. Either way, Madame Gazelle's past is full of secrets, and this might just be the biggest one yet. Then, there's the next strange thing that doesn't add up. Is George adopted? Every character in Peppa Pig follows a simple naming pattern. Danny Dog, Pedro Pony, Rebecca Rabbit. Their initials match their species. Even Peppa fits this rule. But then there's George Pig. His name doesn't match like the others. If he was born into the pig family, wouldn't they have chosen a name that starts with P, like Peter or Patrick? One theory suggests that George was adopted. If he had his name before joining the family, that would explain why it breaks the pattern. Some fans argue that in the episode Edmund Elephant's Birthday, George's full name is written as George Pig, proving he's part of the family. But what if Edmund's family just assumed his last name was Pig, like Peppa's? Of course, there are other exceptions. Peppa's cousins, Chloe and Alexander, don't have matching initials either. But George is different. He's a direct sibling. So was his name just a random choice? Or is there a bigger reason why he stands out? And there you have it. Some of the strangest inconsistencies lurking in Peppa Pig. Did you spot any other odd details we missed? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more fun content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.